Welcome back. It is a Monday. Jim Coyle with you as always, brought to you by our good friends at Feast Market and Cellar, a part of the WOW Network and the WOW Club. Make sure you go to the WOW Club and sign up, Apple App Store or Google Play Store, and get yourself signed up for that. Feast Market and Cellar, of course, located right next door to Southern Stone Restaurant on Patterson and Rogers, offering an extensive selection of wine with a sommelier on staff to make that pairing just perfect. Keegan Nickoson joins me now from thehoosier.com. Was down in North Augusta covering the Peach Jam and all that went on down there. A lot of action, a lot of success for a lot of IU targets, especially those on the Indy Heat 16 and under team. Keegan?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure what the difference was between the Peach Jam Invitational and the actual Peach Jam, because they weren't actually in the Peach Jam. They were in some other separate tournament that was related to it, because they're on the UIBL circuit. But Trent Sisley is going to probably be posting some offers. He had Cincinnati, Xavier, and Michigan, watching him drop 23 points, showing off his rebounding. Jalen Harrison didn't have that great of a game in the championship, and Cannon Catchings was kind of nowhere to be seen. But Sisley is trying to put himself on the map as much as possible. He's trying to get some of those offers that his teammates are getting.
That's not at all surprising to me, as I've been saying that for quite some time. I mean, Trent Sisley is, well, all those guys, but Trent Sisley, he's 6'7". He looks like a sophomore in college. He's your perfect size wing. He's a three-pointer who has a great form, who shoots the ball well, and is only going to get better. I don't know if he's going to grow up more by height more. He doesn't need to, but he will grow out a little more. I tell you who he is right now. He's just a poor man's Liam McNeely from Texas. The only difference between those two guys is just a little more beef on McNeely. He's just he's ready, but of course he's a senior. Yeah. There's a difference, and that's it. And they remind me a lot of each other.
He's actually going to be a junior next year. He's playing up with Drive Nation.
So see, there's those. I just shake my head again. I'm like, oh my God, these guys are looking so unbelievable. From of their bodies are so much more advanced now. It's like, golly. But anyway, I'm not shocked at all. This is a kid who is just. Plus, he's your typical Indiana shooter.
Yeah.
But he's a hybrid, man. He's like a Steve Alford at a wing.
Yeah. And he can play down low, and he can set himself down there and have success there too. So he's all over the place with what he can do.
But yeah, not surprised his offers are going to go up. I mean, that's just going to be the case. That's what happens when you're good. So the same thing will be for Jalen Harrelson, who is another. It looks like a fullback playing point guard. Yeah. And it's like, wow. But that's a duo that Indiana does not want to be let out of the state for certain.
Yeah, and that when that comment was talking about looking at the 2023 boards, you look at the class of 2025 coming in, or he was talking about the 2024 boards, but the class of 2025, Indiana is going to be in a lot of those guys and a lot of in-state talent specifically. And this could end up being one of the best classes to come through the state in the last good chunk of years. I think Jalen Harrelson is going to be cemented in the top 10 of the national rankings whenever they really come out for his class.
What else happened down there that you saw that maybe you didn't expect to see? Did someone stand out that Indiana's looking at, or did Indiana find somebody else to look at?
I would say Deshaun Harris Smith really caught me off guard just because of how late they were in on him. Doesn't have a ton of offers. I think Indiana is probably one of his best 2 or 3 offers, but watching him with Team Takeover really just put that team on his back, and he was able to have success inside, show his physicality. He was able to block some shots, and he was a really, really good shooter for being a forward. So I think he would pair really well with Ja'Kai Newton and Gabe Cupps if they were able to get him I know they need a little bit of size in that 2023 class. So I would expect to see a lot more of Deshaun Harris-Smith in recruiting talks.
Yeah, that again, that's a name that has really, really popped up here of late. He has done nothing but good for himself and playing well. Didn't he have a big game with a high scoring game down there?
I think it might have been the last game. I was on the way back to Myrtle Beach. Alec was streaming that one.
Yeah, there was just a lot of high score, and that's another thing. When these guys get up to these 30-point games, that's pretty impressive. When you're able to score that many points in a game that has this much talent in it.
Yeah, because I mean, you're playing the best talent in the country. Like, there's a huge chunk of these kids that are going to be drafted in 2 years and already have contracts signed. So,
Kalen Catchings, what was he like?
he didn't see a lot of the ball. And I mean, his best thing is he's gonna shoot the ball from range, and he's gonna make those. But he just didn't get a lot of the ball. Neither did Harrelson, because Sicily, you could kind of see the offense running through him, and he would like get a jolt on a possession, and he'd realize, I'm scoring this possession, and I don't care what anyone has to say about it. So and that's what he did. So that kind of ruled out Harrelson and Catchings having big games. Sorry.
It's all right. So what stood out more? I know there was a ton of coaches down there. IU was well represented, but they also had to split time between the coast out on California, as Adidas had a 3SSB event going on out in Cali that they had to jet out to. It's slipping my mind who was playing out there that they needed to go see, but
watching Gabe Cups, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Raleigh Burgess, Flory Badunga,
those guys. So they had to split time a little bit. But you probably saw every one of them at one time or another down there, I would imagine.
Every coach?
Yeah.
At Beach Jam? Oh, yeah. I walked next to John Calipari for like 20 paces. So that was cool because all this stuff is still really new to me. Bonded with Nate Oates about.
Wait. You walked to him next to him for 20 steps and you didn't say, hey, well, dude, why don't you have the balls to play Indiana anymore?
I don't know. I think he has the power to just say, hey, get this kid out of here. And then I have to leave and I can't do my job anymore.
Dude,
so I don't really want to make him mad.
Dude, I haven't trained you guys well enough, man. All they can say is no. All they can say is no.
I bonded with Nate Oates about the terrible parking situation because our cars were trapped. Head coach at Alabama, he was really, really mad about that. So, but there were coaches all over the place. Juwan Howard was with 2 assistants at basically
now. And who were they down there watching?
Jalen Harrelson. They're going all after him.
Yeah, that's a kid that he is growing, garnering more and more attention. Jalen Harrelson from Indianapolis on the 16U team with Trent Sisley and Keegan Catchings that they're playing up with him. But then how did Catchings? Did he get? What was his weekend like?
Not the greatest. It was.
I know you say you didn't see the ball, but
I only got to see them play on Sunday because I was just at Peach Jam watching those guys. So I don't know how he did the rest of the weekend, but it was the Trent Sisley show, that championship game and they beat a BABC team that had won 31 games in a row going into that championship game. That's insane.
Yeah, that's a big long time. But now, and I asked about what's it in the entire staff. We talked about Deshaun Harris Smith. All 4 coaches were on hand to watch him, so they're really putting a push on him.
Yeah, that was the first game of the July live period. I think it was in Kansas City, but they were watching him. But I think they're realizing that they're really in a need for size. They might be out of the running for Xavier Booker. I'm not sure, but they're really going hard after Jamie Kaiser too. So I would expect to see a lot of him.
Well, Kaiser's a guy that they have been really pushed on here of late. Definitely someone that now was he in Atlanta or was he out west?
He wasn't in Atlanta, or
So he's out west, I think. So yeah,
but he's on the Nike circuit, I think. I'm not sure,
but yeah, it's split up, and so what's next up for these coaches now that the live period is ended?
I'm guessing they're actually going to get to their guys that they have on their roster now. Go deeper into summer training, summer games, but I mean, recruiting is kind of over. I know we've got a Geico Summer Showdown coming Tuesday with Gabe Cups playing Bronny's team, Strive for Greatness, out in Vegas. But I think in terms of recruiting, that's kind of really it. But you never really know.
Well, the coaches, the live period has now come to an end, so they can focus on their own teams. TJ Power and Xavier Booker and those guys are going to do what they're going to do. The recruiting will continue however it's able to. But Liam Neely's a guy that previously I had thought Indiana had no shot with. Now that he's going to Montverde Academy, I don't know. It gets him out of Texas for one thing. And so that changes things.
Yeah, I think Indiana's in a good spot. When I talked to him after his game on Friday, he mentioned Indiana in one of the top 5 schools that he feels are really prioritizing him. And his big thing was, look, Coach Woodson was in the NBA for longer than I've been alive, and that's my goal. That's where I want to be. And it looks like Indiana's in a good spot because when I was walking out, I saw Coach Walsh give Liam's mom a wave. So it looks like they're really trying to build that relationship.
Well, that's interesting to hear, and that's the type of information that we don't see, and that's what we need to hear from you. So, how much more did you talk to Liam about? What did you talk about specifically? What did he say about Indiana?
He said the bigger thing was he's trying to set up a visit sometime soon with Indiana. But the main challengers, I believe, are going to be Texas, Oklahoma, USC, and LSU, I think were the names of the schools he said.
Not Baylor?
I don't think so. I
remember seeing him earlier this summer up at what is now the Mojo Center there at Finch Creek, but the entire Baylor staff was there watching him. But yeah, that would be a big time get for Indiana because, man, if you could have him on one side, and of course I don't know if daggone it, we've been talking about him all day from Trent Sisley.
Yeah.
Boy, could you imagine having those guys at wings at the same time? It almost wouldn't.
McNeely has the ability to play a guard spot too. That's just how versatile he is, how good of a shooter he is.
And you could have Jalen Harrelson at a point guard at 6'6". It wouldn't even be fair. I mean, it would be. That's the talent that is coming to Indiana one way or another. They're not going to get all those guys, but it's weird to see that they will be getting the talent that they were not getting in the last 4 and 5 years.
Yeah. So, and those other schools were Texas, Oklahoma, LSU, and Texas Tech. That was the other Texas team. So not USC, Texas Tech.